It's halftime of today's game between the Eagles and the Walsh Cavaliers here at Jack Miller Stadium. Time for our Eagles profile segment for the week, and for that we welcome in redshirt freshman kicker Manaki Watanabe out of Novi, Michigan. Wears number 38 on his Ashland jersey. And Manaki, great to have you here on our broadcast. And boy, what a week last week, a win against Tiffin, and you played a big role in that with 3 field goals. And before we get to the individual kicking exploits, how did you feel about the win? It was obviously a thrilling finish.
Oh yeah, it was most definitely. I'd say that was the most fun game I've ever been at. Throughout high school, I never had a close game like that before. It was awesome to be a part of everything, the team and everything. Yeah.
That is the kind of win that you probably will always remember, Manaki, but boy, it just feels like that could just lift the spirits of a team to move forward in a season.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That's a huge win for us. Keep that 7th Street game going, and just keep going from there.
Well, you didn't have a whole lot of time in that game to kind of sit back, relax, and just watch some college football. They kept you pretty busy. You had the 44-yard field goal early in the game, and then in crunch time, they called your number because they needed you to tie it up, and that was a huge field goal with 1 minute left. Take me through that whole sequence there and just kind of how you kept yourself calm and nailed it.
Yeah, so whenever we're inside the 50, when the offense we have the ball, I usually just start kicking in my net and get it warmed up, and I try to make scenarios in my head that I'm already in that situation. So when I'm already out there, subconsciously I'm already knowing what's going to happen in that situation. So that's how I kind of prepare myself to make field goals in situations like that.
Well, obviously you work very closely in all situations with Nolan and Jaden, snapper and holder respectively. Right there, the game is on the line. You've got to make it to tie it, but I know you want to keep it in your heads like it's just a normal field goal in practice, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly right. Jaden tells me all the time, it's just like practice, and it's, execute the same way I do at practice.
Well, then in the first drive of overtime, it kind of stalled out, and they brought you out. And, of course, that time it's pressure, but a little different than the end of regulation. You had a chance to give the Eagles the lead, and you did it. What was your thought process there? I know you were on the other end of the field. Did that make a difference to you at all, just in terms of the perception and just your approach?
No, it did not make me, change my mind. It was just I saw it as another field goal, like I always do, and I'm glad I made it.
When that went through, and you have the lead in overtime, had you ever had a feeling like that before? That's obviously a huge marker in your young career.
Yeah. So I was surprised myself that I was not excited because the game wasn't over. Like, I knew it was just we're still in overtime. They still have the chance to win the game. So I was pretty calm, I would say. If it was like a walk-off game winner, then I'll obviously be a little more excited about it. But I knew the game wasn't done, so I was still pretty locked in, after I made that kick.
We're visiting with Manaki Watanabe. He's a redshirt freshman for the Eagles out of Novi, Michigan. We'll continue our conversation in just a moment. You're listening to our halftime show in Eagles football on Fox Sports 1340. Continuing our conversation with redshirt freshman Manaki Watanabe, number 38 on the Ashland roster, the place kicker, also kickoff duties under your watch, Manaki, and you've been excellent this year in terms of kicking deep, getting a lot of touchbacks. And I've mentioned on the air to Don Graham before that it seems like you really get fired up after field goals, and usually that's a touchback. You got a little adrenaline going on those kickoffs, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, and Coach Nick tells me, if I can kick it in the end zone, just boom it in the back of the end zone. That's what I do.
It's maybe somewhat of a misunderstood facet of the game in terms of kickoffs. Obviously, you are approaching the ball and trying to kick it as far as you can, but there's also, facets of placement and trying to avoid certain returners who you think might be able to hurt you guys, and it's a little more complicated than just running up and kicking it with all your might. Tell the folks kind of maybe some of the things that you guys are aware of on a kickoff.
Yeah, so, leading up to a Saturday game, we would, in the film room, Coach Nikolai would usually tell us who's like the returners and, if they're decent or not. If they're pretty decent, returning like 20, 30 yards, like we definitely don't want to kick it to them. We'll have a couple plays, for the pooch kicks to the other side of the field, make sure we don't kick it towards him, have it even give him a chance to return the ball.
Manaki, how did you get started kicking in football? I know you have a background playing high school football and high school soccer, and that's not unlike a lot of kickers who have a soccer background, but how did it all get started for you?
Yeah, so this is my 6th year of kicking, and I started off freshman year in high school. I was never like a football guy, to be honest. I played soccer my whole life, and I really thought I was going to go to college as a soccer player as well. But then coming into freshman year of high school, all my friends basically played football, and I did as well, just to kind of fit in. I was a receiver. I wasn't even kicking the ball at first. But then my head coach, Coach Top, he gave me like the opportunity. He saw me kick before, and he knew I had a leg, and the rest is history from there.
When you started looking at colleges and you were recruited by AU and had a chance to come here, what kind of put the Eagles over the top to get you here on campus?
Yeah, so I had mostly the D3 offers in Michigan, and what really stood out to me here was the facility, the NIS, having the indoor, and then the coaching staff, and actually my kicking coach back at home, his brother also went here as well, so I had the connection with Coach Nikolai, and my kicking coach's partner that's based in Massillon, Ohio, also had a connection with Coach Nikolai, and that's how I got connected with him, and had an walk-on offer from here, and I just took it.
You had a chance to kind of get acclimated last year, Manaki, as a red shirt, and of course we had a pretty good kicker last year as well, A.J. Rhodes, and he's going down in history, winning that game at Charleston in the playoffs. What was the effect there of just being able to kind of get your feet wet and watch him kick and kind of get ready for your own opportunity?
Yeah, so it was most definitely a blessing for me to redshirt. I feel like if I did play my freshman year, I think I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. He was a great leader. He taught me everything what I need to do as a kicker at Ashland, and I'm super grateful that we have the JV team as well. That I think that prepared me to, the varsity games, and that kind of just helped me.
Well, Manaki, we congratulate you on a great win against Tiffin, the 3 field goals, and I believe that gets you up to 11 out of 12 on the year. And we hope those keep coming for you. We wish you good health and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that is Manaki Watanabe joining us here on our halftime show. It is the Eagles and the Walsh Cavaliers. We'll take this time out and be back with more in just a moment, including a look at the first half stats. You're listening to AU Football on Fox Sports 1340.